Yeah, please. I can start. Sahil, thank you for that intro. Thank you for coming. And I must tell you, can everyone hear me? There are not so many people, but my throat is bad, so that's why I'm using the mic. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. But when I was first told that the Tossed Salad Club is going to be launching my book in Pune, I was actually a little worried. I thought that this is some sort of a health food club which serves salad. And judging by my physical characteristics, you'll realize that I don't eat too much of salad. But Sahil reassured me, and he said, no, we are just a book lovers club, and please come along, and we would love to have you there with us. So thank you, Sahil, for the invitation, and I'm delighted to be here. I must tell you that Pune is one of those cities where I have had some wonderful times as a child. We used to come here regularly. In those days, Pune used to be considered as a hill station more than a city. And of course, the first stop used to be Kayani's Bakery, where one used to have Shrewsbury biscuits. So I associate most Puneites with Shrewsbury biscuits. So if you see me smiling at you, I'm not actually smiling at you, I'm smiling at a biscuit. Sahil has given me a wonderful intro and has said some wonderful things about me and the fact that I'm a novelist. Well, honestly speaking, I'm not too sure whether that's true. The fact of the matter is that I'm a novel phenomenon. I'm novel because of the fact that I'm a Marwadi businessman who decided to take up writing. So to that extent, I'm an oddity, I'm a curiosity, I'm a novelty. So I'm a novelty, but I'm not necessarily a novelist. To a certain extent, here you have before you this Marwadi Banya pot-bellied author who apparently knows how to write a potboiler. And I have been blown away by the success of the second book, Chanakya's Chant. And I'm so delighted to be here with you to be able to share a little bit more about the book. And hopefully that will get you interested enough to pick up a copy, because every unit that gets sold eventually helps my bestseller rankings. So please do. We are, this is a charitable cause. Coming to my favorite topic, which is me. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, and then I will move on to talking about the book. As far as my personal life is concerned, Sahil has already covered it, but I was born and brought up in Bombay, and the interest in writing actually came from my grandfather, who was also a poet. And he used to give me this one book every week. Every week, he would give me one new book. But in order to earn that new book, I had to submit a report about the old book that I had read. It had to be a one-page report, and it had to say what I liked or what I disliked about it. And this process went on from the age of 10 all the way up to the age of 23. So for 14 years, I read these books on a weekly basis. And that is where my interest in reading and writing comes from. When I returned from the US after having completed an MBA, I went back again into my family business. There are one or two visitors here who know me more as a businessman than as an author. And of course, but there was always this little spark inside me which said that no, I must write. Finally, sometime around 2004, 2005, my wife and I were on a holiday in Goa, and somehow or the other, she insisted. She said, listen, you keep talking about writing, but you never get down to actually doing it. You have your notebook computer right here. Why don't you sit down and write? We are here for 7 days. And at the end of that 7-day trip, I had actually completed writing about 17,000 words. And somehow or the other, I couldn't stop after that. The momentum.
You can say that 7 days Goa trip happened in both?
Yes.
In Goa?
Absolutely. Don't look so shocked. First of all, it happened post-marriage. And most importantly, I think I was going through a point of time in my life when I think sometimes when you go through the most difficult periods in your life, those are the times when other opportunities suddenly open up before you. And this was one of those. I have no regrets. The Rozabal line was my first novel. I'd like to tell you a little bit about it for those of you who haven't read it. Just about, I would say, maybe 2 months prior to this trip, which I had taken in Goa, I had been in Kashmir, and I had visited a tomb in Srinagar, which was known as Rozabal. And for those of you who are not too familiar with Rozabal, this is a place where a lot of visitors end up going. It's in the heart of Srinagar. And the common myth around this tomb is the fact that this was the final resting place of Jesus Christ. And I found the myth and the story most fascinating. And this was a topic on which many, many books had been written, but somehow no one had found it appealing enough to be able to actually do a work of fiction on it. So between 2004 and 2005, I literally ended up devouring every book that I could lay my hands on that particular topic. So that by the time that I reached Goa, my head was brimming with ideas. And I started writing the book in 2005. I completed it about 18 months later. Unfortunately, at that point of time, I was not able to find any publisher who was willing to take up publishing the book. What I can admit freely today is that I sent out about 100 manuscripts during that period. And of course, the nicer publishers ended up sending me a letter saying they are not interested. The vast majority did not even bother to get back to me. Probably those are manuscripts which are lying on dusty bookshelves somewhere in some publishing houses around the world. I was fed up at that point of time with the entire publishing industry, and I decided to self-publish the book in 2007. Luckily for me, the book went out onto Amazon and various other book retailing sites, and at that point of time, the founder of Westland, Hemu Ramaiya, happened to pick it up on Amazon, and she ended up reading the book. And of course, this book had been written under my pseudonym, Sean Higgins, which is an anagram of my real name, Ashwin Sanghi. So she ended up reading it, and luckily she was interested enough that she researched the background of Sean Higgins to find out that he happens to be this Marwadi Baniya businessman sitting in Bombay called Ashwin Sanghi. And she gave me a call and she said, Ashwin, this is a great book, why don't we publish it? And if you are willing to spend 2 months or 3 months editing it once again, we'd be happy to come out with an Indian edition. And I said, hey, beggars can't be choosers. Anyone willing to publish this book, I'm very happy. In case anyone is willing to publish the book, you tell me what needs to be done. And 3 months later, we had a book out there. And of course, for the next 3 to 4 months, it remained a bestseller, remaining between number 3 and number 5 on India Today. But at that point of time, I knew that I was hooked and I had to continue writing. The question that arises quite often is, from Rozabal, how did you go to Chanakya's Chant? And well, honestly speaking, I think Chanakya's Chant is really the flavor of the times. When I look around me and I see the entire political environment that we are facing, I think back to myself, hey, listen, have I seen this somewhere before? Have I done this somewhere before? Is this a pattern? And that is honestly what Chanakya's Chant is all about. It's about the fact that very little has changed in 2,300 years. The same strategies, the same tactics, the same politicians, the same political games, the same sometimes out-and-out dirty games are being played all the time in the quest for power. So at the end of the day, the only difference between Chanakya's Chant and the Rozabal line was that with the Rozabal line, I had an aim of trying to educate. I wanted the story of the Rozabal line and the tomb in particular to come out, and for every little piece of research that was there to be included in the book. Chanakya's Chant, on the other hand, was my test, my examination of myself as a writer. I wanted to just see whether I could tell you a good story. There is the famous author Somerset Maugham, who said that there are 3 rules for writing a novel. Unfortunately, no one knows what they are. And I find myself in that category because I have not had any formal education as far as writing goes. So in fact, for me, the fun bit is the fact that there are no rules. I wrote my first novel without rules, and the second one also equally without rules. But the test that I put myself through was that I kept on sharing this manuscript with everyone, and I kept saying, hey, listen, do you think that on page 3 there is enough of a twist to want you to turn to page 4? That was my only criteria. So if you pick up this book and if you read it and it takes you more than a couple of days to read it, then I have failed as an author. My intention is that you should pick up this book, start reading it, and you should be done with it in 24 hours or 48 hours.